Okay, I'm starting.
Okay. We're going to be talking about the thyroid gland axis, which has 3 different parts. We're going to be discussing the first part, which starts in the hypothalamus. And the thyroidotropin, releasing hormone is released by TRH, neuroendocrine cells, and from there it goes down the hypophyseal portal system to the anterior pituitary, where it stimulates the thyrotrophs, which then release the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, but we'll discuss that later. The TRH is a peptide, and it's hydrophilic and lipophobic, so it needs to use a messenger, and the messenger is DAG-IP3. And so the first section just talks about how it starts in the hypothalamus and then it goes to the anterior pituitary. And what I forgot to mention is the stimulus that is needed is temperature. Okay, the second step that we're going to be discussing is how it gets from the anterior pituitary to the thyroid gland, and how that stimulates the follicle cells, which we'll discuss in the third section of that. So TSH is hydrophilic and lipophobic, meaning that it needs to use a messenger system as well, but this time it's using CAMP. Okay, so TSH stimulates the follicle cells on the thyroid gland. So what happens? It increases the phases of thyroid hormone production, which is T4 and T3, which causes a negative feedback to stop the production of TSH. Okay? This is just a side note. Iodine, which is in salt, helps with the release of TSH, also helps with the production of thyroid hormone, which we'll discuss in the third part. More info: if you have too much of thyroid stimulating hormone on the follicle cells will enlarge and elongate, and that becomes a goiter. Okay, so next we're going to be discussing the thyroid gland and how that makes thyroid hormone. Okay, so these are the follicle cells, right there. Now the follicle cells, they make iodine, okay, and then I enlarged a follicle cell right here. Inside the follicle cell, there's thyroglobulin. Inside the thyroglobulin, there's the tyrosine amino acid. The tyrosine amino acid combines with the iodine that is made from the follicle to make thyroxine, which is thyroid hormone, which is T3 and T4 as well. Okay, so bear with me, but we need to have thyroid peroxidase to carry the iodine that is made from the follicle cell into the thyroglobulin to combine with tyrosine amino acid to form thyroid hormone. Okay, so T3 and T4 is lipid soluble, meaning that it can just basically go through the membrane. And you need gene expression for this. And T3 and T4, they basically bind to thyroxine binding globin in order to be transported into the cell membrane. Remember that T4, there's 75% of that. T3, there's 70%. And remember that T3 is more potent than T4. And remember that T4 needs to be converted into T3 in order to be used by the cells. And in part 2, we'll be discussing the actual effects that thyroid hormone has on the target tissue.
Great job.